Good Thursday morning. We are continuing with one little excerpt from Ask Babylon because we were talking about reincarnation yesterday and reading my response to somebody's question many years ago. All of these questions and answers are from this little book called Ask Babylon. Answers to questions of life and magic, and published by my good friends at New Falcon. That was my first publisher many years ago. Yeah, but the book is still available. It's full of little drawings and poems and doodads and stuff. There's Lon as a herm. And you may not think that these are very, I'm not much of an artist, but I do doodle. It says ooga booga around the triangle. Well, anyway, enough of that. Yesterday was, little excerpt was too long for one episode and really too short for two, but I'm going to do the second half of it. And if you didn't see the first half, please just scroll down on my page and find it. And also, I'd like you to, my good Facebook friend Stephen sent a link to a very short, like 12-minute YouTube video called The Egg. I would like, I've never seen it before, and I'd like very much for you to watch that when you get a chance, because it's very entertainingly insightful on the subject of reincarnation, life and existence. It's pretty damn good. Please see it, because it's very reminiscent of a song that I wrote years ago called "Last Night I Dreamed of Dead People," and I shared that video this morning on Facebook in the comment section, along with the link to The Egg. So try to catch both of those today. So be that as it may, I'm going to pick up in the paragraph just before I left off yesterday. Obviously, why I am here is the most important question one can ask oneself in this present incarnation. But there are other questions, lots of questions. If I've lived 1,000 times before, what do those other lives mean to me now? Am I my own ancestors? Is that what ancestor worship, a universally and very popular doctrine, is all about? Is reincarnation just some strange sleight of hand phenomena of consciousness, an interdimensional marriage of DNA and quantum physics? If I change myself in the present, am I simultaneously changing my past and my future selves? Now there's a thought. I hope you don't think me too crazy for what I'm about to share with you. It's a story that seems particularly appropriate to this discussion, especially because of what happened to me this morning. But for the story to make any sense at all, I'm going to have to give you a little background information. And this is where we left off yesterday. A couple years ago, at the insistence of my wife, I began taking 2 or 3 short walks around the neighborhood each day. The walks have done wonders for my health and my weight. I've gone from an unhealthy and uncomfortable 310 pounds down to a cool 175 pounds. But all these new blood But all the new blood pumping to my brain has done even more for my memory and meditations. Each morning, about halfway through my walk, I pass by a modest Costa Mesa residence whose front yard is adorned with 5 very large and healthy datura plants. They are as tall as trees and kept from the sidewalk by a sturdy brick and wrought iron fence. Their upper limbs, however, refuse to be contained in the yard and burst over the top of the fence, spilling hundreds of dangling angels' trumpets just inches above the heads of the sidewalk and sidewalk passers-by. In full bloom, it's really quite a breathtaking sight. One morning not long ago, I lingered for a few moments beneath the canopy of the downward pointing yellow bells and I felt a curious giddiness as I stood there looking up into the deepness of those huge flowers. They really do look like angels' trumpets, I thought. And I couldn't help but think that each flower was pouring down on me some kind of magical blessing or benediction. I don't usually fantasize spiritual communication with plants. Constance does all the time, though. I believe her, too, okay? I don't usually fantasize spiritual communion with plants, and I confess that at first I felt a little silly. I quickly went along on my way. But next morning, as I headed out for my walk, I found myself looking forward to passing beneath the blessing trees. This time, I swear, as I approached, they seemed genuinely happy to see me coming. The blossoms swung madly back and forth in the breeze like tolling bells, heralding my approach. This is crazy, I thought. Why would these poisonous flower trees be blessing me? Things got even crazier. The next day, I paused again in the shelter of the blessing trees. One of the biggest, most perfectly formed flower trumpets caught my eye. I lingered on the texture of its golden yellow skin and followed it back to the bright green pod that held the bell firmly to the stem. Then I followed the stem to its twisted and spiraling branch. Then followed the branch to the thicker branch, and that branch down to the main trunk and down into the ground. Then, in my mind's eye, I plunged underground and watched the roots drawing nutrients and life from the soil. It's the earth, I thought. The earth is blessing me. An interesting little thought, but hardly a veil-rending revelation. The next morning I awoke in a strange and melancholy mood. It was one of those dark funks I wallow in when I realize my life is well over half over and that I have a much longer past than a future. Why am I here? How much time do I have left in this incarnation to find out what it is and then do it? As I set out on my morning walk, I tried to comfort myself with the thought that Lon Milo DuQuette's life has been only one of many. Death will routinely come as it has 1,000 times before. I will black out like a deeply anesthetized patient And then somehow, somewhere again, I'll come to self-awareness as a screaming baby pissing and shitting all over myself. And the poor damn souls who conspired to create for me a new body. And that all this will continue again and again until I get things right. I stared at the sidewalk, but I barely saw it as it raced by under my feet. I was totally absorbed in a vision of the corpses of thousands of me's, centuries of me's, men, women, and children, buried in every corner of the earth, all decomposing on ocean floors and in forests and deserts and mountains, ashes and rotting flesh dissolving into the soil and being sucked up by the roots of plants and trees. Suddenly, without realizing how I got there, I found myself standing under the blessings trees, looking up and into the depths of hundreds of angels' trumpets. But this time they spoke to me in 1,000 different voices. I warned you this is going to get crazy. We are all you. All your incarnations. Every man, woman, and child you've ever been, drawn up to this spot from the vessels of the earth into the roots of these trees, here to bless you, to encourage you, to empower you, to plead with you to fulfill our destinies, your destiny, to neutralize our collective karmas, to pay the debts we've left unpaid and redeem the rewards we've left uncollected. You're so close this time. You can do it. You can do it in this life. You can do it for all of us. Do it for yourself. I don't know how long I lingered under the trees that morning. I clutched the wrought iron bars and lifted my face to the silent cloudburst of the totality of liabilities and assets, cosmic debts and rewards of this life and each and every one of my past lives, all focused upon this moment. And all of them now duly registered in the ledger of my being. For the next couple weeks, I look forward to passing under the blessing trees. And their message has been profound and a continual background meditation, making me profoundly mindful of the opportunity I have to make things right for myself and my ancestors. It would be a real understatement to say this illumination has been for me a life-altering experience. I guess it'd be fair to ask me if I believe I'm really going to do it in this lifetime. And my answer to you is an unqualified yes. Simply because it's always been this lifetime. And I believe yours has always been your lifetime, too. And that's where I ended with that goofy illustration. And that's where I'll end it today. I do have another reincarnation song I've recorded. It's called I Once Was the Hero of Megiddo. And I'll try to post that sometime today too. Anyway, Until tomorrow, Friday. God, another week has flown by. But it's always been now. Continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is a law. Love under will.